Well, hello y'all. How have you been? It's been a really long time. I hope y'all are doing really well. You may or may not have noticed that I have been MIA for a while. Quite a while, and I apologize for that. I was searching for something in my email and I logged in, and I hadn't logged in such a long time. I had seen a bunch of notifications of comments on different videos over the last few months, and one of the comments had said, that they were just checking in with me, making sure all was good, because the last time a plant friend that we all knew and loved had gone silent, they were no longer with us. For some reason, it made me remember how worried me and a few of his plant friends were, and we were all trying to figure out is he okay? Is he taking a hiatus? Maybe something's going on. Of course, we're talking about Mike, and it just kind of reminded me of that worry and the underlying concern and sort of confusion and fear that me and a few of the other, plant friends that we had in that group were feeling at that time. And then finding out that, something bad had happened and that person was no longer with us was a lot. And so I kind of felt bad because I was like, holy crap, I just kind of moved on and didn't think it was a big deal. And then when I saw that comment, I was like, oh my gosh, I did not want to cause that kind of feeling, that worry and that underlying concern and confusion or curiosity and fear. So I am so sorry if I caused that kind of tension or fear. That's not at all what I meant. I honestly didn't think it would matter much whether I was posting or not. So for one, thank y'all so much to the people who were just making sure I was okay. It really does touch me that if something had happened, people would notice. Of course in my personal life, people would notice, but to know that there were people, who didn't need to care, that cared was really touching, and it really made my day. But I also am so sorry if I caused any kind of fear or concern, because that's not what I aim to do to anybody. I am okay. Everything is okay. It actually kept me up last night because I felt so bad and was like, wow, you really did just off the face of the plant earth. So I wanted to give a little bit of an explanation and just kind of explain where I'm at with plants and sharing my plants and that kind of thing. So basically, it's not even that deep or that intense, but I was posting on here regularly, and I had Instagram as well, and I was pretty active on Instagram for a while, but very quickly Instagram became extremely overwhelming. I loved the space on YouTube. I loved the comments and the friendships that I was making, and I loved that I could take that off of YouTube onto Instagram and kind of delve a little deeper in some of those friendships and kind of broaden the people that I was interacting with, and it was such a good time for a while. But then it started getting really overwhelming. One thing about me is that I am an absolute people pleaser. I hate disappointing people, even if they're strangers on the internet. It's consciously I know that I don't owe people things, but it still is it's a character flaw at some points where I just feel so guilty if I let somebody down or if somebody's upset with me. And I think that that's pretty apparent in a lot of conversations that I have. And I think for the most part, people can be really good about reminding me that I don't owe them anything, or being gracious if I, needed to take some time, or if I didn't get back to them right away. A good bit of the time, people were super gracious about it. But I do think that more and more, there was people who kind of picked up the vibe that I was available and wanted to be helpful and, didn't want to upset anybody, and sort of took advantage of it. I had dozens of messages on Instagram every day, and some of them were conversations that I really enjoyed, that I loved being a part of, and there was no issues at all. It was just super pleasant, friendly conversation. But more and more there was messages from people who were sort of demanding and a little bit entitled, and it was passive aggressively demanding that because I share my plants on YouTube, I now owe them the help of troubleshooting their own plants, or figuring out what plants to get next, or figuring out their fertilization schedules, and it was passive aggressive demanding that I be readily available for any and all of their questions. And if I did not answer them, or if I wasn't as attentive as they wanted, it would be a lot of passive aggressive, borderline insulting, kind of bullying behavior. And for my personality type, that doesn't work well because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to upset anybody. So I found myself on my phone all the time. And even though some of these conversations I knew I should have set a boundary that's like, I don't owe you my time. I don't have to work around the clock to help you with your plants. Like, I don't even have to open the message if I don't want to. Like, consciously I knew that, but again, with my personality type, it's really, really hard for me to do that. In the back of my mind, I'm like, what if this person just needs somebody to talk to? What if, they're going through a really hard time and I'm the last person they try to reach out to and I don't answer and something bad happens. I know that's really extreme, but these situations have happened to me before, and so my brain takes it there all the time. And so it's really hard for me to set boundaries and like cut at those boundaries. Like, that's really hard for me. So Instagram became more and more demanding. I was on my phone all the time, trying to keep up with every message, trying to keep up with every conversation. Some of these messages that were like asking questions or, asking for my opinion or asking for advice, like I'd actually have to kind of dig in a little bit and do a little research to be able to feel comfortable giving my opinion or like even some suggestions on how to fix certain like plant issues or whatever. It was just becoming really time consuming, and it got to the point where I was distracted when I was trying to do my full-time job, like actually work. And even in like my personal life, like if I'm sitting down watching a movie with my husband, I'm like trying to Google what certain plant spotting might mean on a certain plant. Is it a nutrient deficiency? Is it overwatering? Like, I'm looking this stuff up like in my personal time because I didn't want to let somebody down or have them get upset with me or, whatever. Anyways, so it kind of got to the point where like the more I shared my plants, the more the entitlement kind of grew, where I think maybe people thought that this was my job and I was getting paid to do this and this is all I did all day long. And I did try to kind of put it out there that like, this is not my whole life. This is not even a job. I don't get paid at all to do this. This is a hobby. I don't owe my time or my recommendations or my, knowledge or whatever. I don't owe that. But I don't think it was reaching the right people, because like the people who were genuinely kind and caring were like, oh, I don't want to bother you. But it was like the people who were just a lot were just like, bloop, move right past it, and just kind of kept hounding. The more I shared and the more I kind of, I guess, grew, the worse that got, to the point where I'd get on Instagram to try to chat with like my friends and to like browse Instagram, and messages would just be coming in and I couldn't ignore them anymore. And so I just like dreaded getting on Instagram, stopped completely getting on Instagram. It slowly just trickled into like a resentment of my plants, a resentment of the plant community, a resentment of like Instagram and anything that had to do with like the plant community, my plants, my YouTube, my Instagram. Like, I was just not interested. I was extremely overwhelmed. It literally was just like, I'm done. And I stepped away. And also things just got really, really busy in life at that time. So to be honest, I wasn't even really taking care of my plants. I think the last video that I had posted was literally me showing the plants that survived my neglect, because it had been like a long time coming of like a slow neglect that led to just like a halt. And so it was like, what do I even show at this point? Because like, I'm not even watering my plants right now. You know what I mean? And like, people are asking me like, how do you get this plant to survive in ambient climates? How do you like feed this plant? And I'm like, I literally don't even look at these babes right now. Like, they're not even on my radar. So yeah, it's just between being too busy to even think plants and then being overwhelmed with trying to meet everybody's expectation. I just like, a switch just went off and I just was done. And so that's why I just stopped. To be honest, I didn't even honestly think of really anything. It was just like, I can't, I can't. Fight or flight, I flew. But I know that that's not super healthy and probably not very fair to the very kind people who are on here and have great hearts and cared about me and had friendships with me. And, I am so sorry to those people. It's not at all that those relationships don't matter. It's just when I get overwhelmed, I like just shut down. I go into like survival mode and I shut down. Even my friends and family in like real life, you can ask them, like there'll be months where I'm not super communicative, and that's on me. that's on me. But yeah, I don't know what it was about seeing that comment where it just reminded me of like when Michael kind of just went off the face of the earth and everybody was worried, but at the same time we were like, maybe he just changed his mind, and then come to find out, you know, he was no longer with us, and just kind of reliving that time of being like, oh my God, I don't know if I should be worried. How far should I take this? Is he okay? And then finding out he wasn't okay, and then regretting not making it a big deal and not kind of taking it a little more extreme. And I didn't want to do that to anybody else, because that feeling sucks really bad. So in that moment I was like, okay, well, I have to post a video. I have deleted my Instagram altogether. Like the entire account is gone. So I can't log back into that account, but I wanted to at least post on here and just like say, hey, that I'm okay. Slowly but surely over the last few weeks, I have been like finding interest in my plants again. It has literally taken this long, y'all. The entire time, actually it was before I even technically just like fell off, but from that time to literally maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I have not been interested in my plants at all. My husband's been watering them for me like every so often when he kind of just sees that they're in dire, desperate need. But yeah, I haven't blinked at my plants in that entire time, which is crazy for me. But yeah, over the last few weeks, I've kind of had like a spark of interest and a spark of happiness with my plants again. And it was really sad seeing all the casualties, because a lot of them are gone. Like y'all wouldn't even believe the ones that I let die. It's bad. A good bit of them died, like painful, slow deaths. And then I went through a period of time where I was like, all of my plants are dying. I don't have time for this. I need to just get the healthy ones out to people who will enjoy them and take care of them. So some of them were given away, some of them were sold, and then more of them died. So a couple of weeks ago, I kind of went through and I just cleared out everything. Anything that was just like dead, I got rid of. I still need to do some repots and kind of revive things that way, but I did start watering them again and kind of like cleaning them off and tending to them, giving them a little TLC, and they're starting to pop back a little bit. But my collection is so sad now. But that's okay. I don't see myself ever getting to the point that I was before, at least not in the near future, just because things are still super busy for me. So to have like shelves and shelves of plants right now just is not realistic. Now, just to be completely like upfront, I don't know if I'm still gonna continually post plant videos. I enjoyed it, but I don't want to get to that space of overwhelm again, because again, this is my hobby. I'm not trying to make this a job. I'm not trying to make this like my life. I really did enjoy my plants as a hobby. So I don't want it to get to that point of like resentment again. But I really think Instagram was the problem, not YouTube. I think it just got a little overwhelming with Instagram. It was a little too accessible, and I think I'm just not the type of person who can create healthy enough boundaries to make it not overwhelming. So I'm thinking about maybe posting a little more often here on YouTube, or at least starting to post again. I don't know if I'm going to do a schedule or anything, but just like as I kind of want to share things, I will post them here. They may be few and far in between, or they may be every other week. I don't know yet. Just kind of as I get the spark to share planty things. But I think I am closing the door on Instagram, at least for right now, just because y'all, I can't do that again. I can't do it again. That was a lot. And if we had communications on Instagram, more than likely we're not the problem. So like, don't trip. I had some incredible conversations that I actually really miss, and a lot of people that I actually really miss, but it just got to be a lot, y'all. So yeah, I can't guarantee I'll be on Instagram again. And if I ever am on Instagram, I may not allow like DMs, which kind of sucks, but that might just be like the boundary that I have to put in general. But we'll see. We're taking this slow. I don't want to make any promises. So that was it. Thank you for joining my TED Talk. Life happens. It's okay. I don't know what the future holds with plants. I don't know what the future holds with this channel, but I am feeling good dabbling back into the plants and kind of feeling that spark of like happiness again with them. That's making me really excited. And so I am going to tread super carefully and make sure that I don't like overwhelm myself. Hopefully you guys understand and don't take offense to it, that I'm not, you know, completely diving back in head first and getting on Instagram and doing all of these things. But hopefully the explanation makes sense to you guys, and it explains a little bit about where I've been and why I've been gone, and gives some context if I'm not consistent on here or if I don't post anymore. But yeah, thank you again for all of the incredible comments and the care and the concern and the love. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. I hope you guys are doing super well. Make sure you take really good care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all when I see ya. Bye, y'all.